I am Dan, your friendly fishmonger at dansfish.com. And we do this live stream every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That is 9 Eastern. If you're mountain challenged, thanks for being here with us. We appreciate you hanging out. Today, we're going to give our shipping report. We have a pretty interesting giveaway today. So I'll tell you about that. And then we'll talk about fish. Answer your questions and comments about aquariums, aquarium keeping, breeding fish, shipping fish, running a fish shop, anything to do with freshwater aquarium fish. If you're into aquarium plants, I don't know that much about them. If you're into inverts, I know very little. But when it comes to the fish themselves, I can probably talk to you about that. And if I can't, I'll tell you up front so you aren't getting some BS answer that just spins you down the wrong way. So that's what we're going to do today. So, I'll tell you how the presentation at the Findig went. So I went to Sacramento, California this last weekend and got to meet a bunch of awesome people there and participate as a speaker in their annual big meeting. I don't know what you call it, a convention, a show, event, I suppose. The Findig. So if you're in NorCal and you missed it, it was pretty cool. Tell you all about that. Okay, first off the shipping report, we are now at 98.82% success shipping fish to our customers. That's the last 12 months rolling as reported by our customers that the fish arrived alive and there weren't problems. So that's where that number comes from. I wish it was higher. We had a really big disaster in very early April when things got stranded because UPS shut down, and it was a mess. So usually where we want to be is at 99%. 99% success is our goal, but that put a whammy on us, and we excuse me, and we are still trying to claw our way back up to 99% after that disaster. So that's where we're at. 98.83%. Still pretty good, still right around 99%, very close, 98%, above 98%. But we want to be better. We want to get up 0.08 of a percent. That's where we want to be. Okay, so that's the shipping report. The giveaway for today, I think, is going to be awesome. So we have this these two Amazon puffers that have been hanging out together for a long time. And what we do is we use them as scud removers and snail control. So if we empty out a tank and there's a bunch of scuds in there, we'll put these puffers in there to clear out all the scuds before we sterilize the tank and bring in the next import that goes in that tank. So we have two of these, two Amazon puffers. These are decent size. They're geez, I don't know if they're 2 inches, but they're close. Big, fat, and sassy because they've been eating a lot of scuds. Now, don't worry, they also eat frozen bloodworms and brine shrimp and snails and all the rest of it, but they've been eating extra well. So two of those, and they've been getting along just fine, the two of them, for I don't know how many months, for a long time at this point. So I think they're going to do just fine together. Now, there's another fish in that tank that we're also giving away today. Let me see if I can show it to you. Here it is. It's an eel. I just took these pictures about 5 minutes ago with my phone. I don't know what kind of eel it is. It showed up as a contaminant in an order. No clue, but this is where it looks like. So if you know eels, there's one of the puffers you'll be getting. If you know eels, then hopefully that'll tell you what kind it is. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to grow into a monster, like a 2-3 foot eel, like a fire eel can, or if this is going to stay, in the 7-inch range, like the dwarf red-tail eels. I have no clue. It's got a pretty distinct pattern down the side, though, and it's got a lot of red and orange. It's hard to see, so you can kind of see it here. It kind of goes up there and down here. It's hard to see in any of the other pictures, but it goes like this on the fins. So that eel and two Amazon puffers is what the giveaway is for. Again, no clue what kind of eel it is. I'm not an eel expert, and that thing showed up, you know, tiny a while ago, and it's been living large, living with the puffers, going around controlling scuds for us and snails. So we will do the hashtag later. I'll tell you guys how to enter to win those 2 Amazon puffers and that eel in a bit. I don't want to do it early on because when chat crashes, which it does a couple times every time I stream, all that kind of goes away and disconnects. So the night bot, which is the chat bot that we use to manage the giveaways, so you know it's on the up and up, loses a bunch of information when chat crashes. So we'll do that right before we go ahead and do our before we do the giveaway. Couple things I want to highlight. This is the first one I want to highlight. These are Rhinogobius duospilus maybe. They're one of the white cheek gobies. There's a lot of Rhinogobius that look very similar to this, but they have this white cheek and this bright red on the gills that they use to flare. Really pretty, personable, fun little fish. One I used to keep years and years ago and just has not been very available for quite a while. But we have found them again. This is what the female looks like. And we've brought in a nice group of those. So if you like personable little gobies, Rhinogobies are absolute crowns. They're beautiful. They display all the time. They gape their jaws and show off their bright red gills and dance. And they're very fun. This is one that you can breed in aquariums. It does not have that stage where the fry need to go out to the ocean, to the plankton cloud to develop. They're good parents. So this is one you can definitely have a breeding project of these in your aquariums. So that's a really cool one. One people have been waiting for a long time is this, the Everglades pygmy sunfish. We have a very nice group available, and we've got them nice and healthy. I think they're going to do great for people. One of the beautiful native fish looks a lot like a killifish to me, but it's not. It looks like an Astrolabius nigripinus or a Aphanius mento, or whatever the new name is. They just changed that name recently, but it's not. These are from the southeastern United States. From the Everglades, Evergladi, right? And just an absolute stunning little fish. Another one that's a favorite of mine is this. This is Aplochilus dei. I caught a picture of this guy mid-yawn. If you look really closely, you can see a pair of Betachinoides spawning back here, hidden by the logo. There they are. There's the Betachinoides. There's the male with his mouth full of eggs, and the female right there. But this is a fish that I bred and raised as a teenager. It's like an Aplochilus panchax or a golden wonder, but it's less aggressive and it doesn't get as big and mean, I guess is the way I'd put it. Here's what the females look like. So that is one of my favorites too. That's a blast from the past for me. That's a killifish that is near and dear to my heart. Just a couple other things. We still have some Stiphodon anniae, one that people have been waiting on for a long time. And then there was one more I wanted to show you. Oh, I think it's these. Yeah, it's these. These full green guppies. These come from an IFGA line, and it shows. I don't know if they would win any shows or not, but they obviously came from stock that could have, I think. Very beautiful, very nice full green guppy batch. These were bred and raised by a hobbyist right here in the United States from an IFGA line. So pretty special fish. And I love it when we can get them from folks like that, because then they don't go through the stress of importing. So they tend to be much healthier and do well long term. So that is the shipping report. That is the giveaway. And that's some of the cool stuff happening here at Dan's Fish. We will have more stuff listed tomorrow and Friday. So if you're in a fish buying mood, check out dansfish.com over today, tomorrow, and the next day, and there'll be quite a bit of stuff listed for sale. Hey, there are 227 folks here. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate you coming by, hanging out with us. If you wouldn't mind sharing this out to someone who you think might enjoy an aquarium fish live stream, then please do that so we can grow the chat, grow the channel. If you don't know anyone that would enjoy the live stream, then, you know, share it out to an ex-lover or something. Let's make it interesting. Let's see how bad the breakup really was and get their side of the story. All right. With that, I'm going to scroll up and start getting to questions and comments. But before I do, first of all, I want to thank the moderators for being here, volunteering their time to moderate and make sure that the chat behaves. Oh, behave. And that we have a nice chat that everyone can enjoy. And I do want to talk about the fin dig. It was awesome. First of all, I have a brother that lives there with his family. I've got my parents that live there, and I've got you know, my fish godfather, Jim Forshey, and his wife Agnes, and his daughter, that all live there. And so it was really cool. I was able to catch up with a lot of old friends and family members, which was awesome. And the event itself was pretty nice. The hotel was nicer than many that I've stayed at. It wasn't 5-star or anything, but it was nicer than a lot of them I've stayed at, so that was good. And what I loved about this event is I liked all the presentations I went to. When I go to these events, I tend to go to all or most of the talks. I want to hear the other speakers because I want to learn something. And I really did. Each presentation was awesome. I didn't think there wasn't one that I regretted going to or that I was bored at or was not impressed by. So I think everyone did a great job. Gary Lang was in top form giving his Kalitawa collecting talk. And actually, this is my first time hearing it in this way. I heard it before a little bit at the Triple Crown, but it was presented in a different way, and Johannes Graf is the one that did most of the Kalitawa stuff, from what I remember. It's been a few years. But I really enjoyed Gary's talk. I thought it was great. And then there were several other talks. There was a good one on aquascaping, which is not a topic I'm really drawn to, but I had a great time. I learned a lot, and I was just fascinated by the world of HIP. The speaker's name was Hip, and he is part of the Aquarium Design Group in, I believe, Dallas, Texas. Maybe it's Houston. I think it's Dallas. And his full-time job is aquascaping. That's what the guy does for a living. So it was kind of cool to just, how do you make a living aquascaping? Like, that's not something many people can do. So it was really cool to kind of see into his world a little bit. So that was awesome. And then the one that I really enjoyed was Lowell's Fish Lab. Lowell gave an awesome presentation on breeding fish and he framed it really well. He framed it right down into, here's what I do and why, so that even if you didn't agree with his methods, you understood them. You understood the logic behind them. And he 3D prints stuff. So he gave me a nice little fry, kind of like Dean's system, like you could hang this on a tank or whatever. These little things extend and rest on the rim of a tank. This one's made for a 10-gallon aquarium. And it's got, the thing I really like is this. This allows the water to come up, and then the water flows this way, and then out. So you don't get a whole bunch of disturbance at the surface. So if you don't want churning surface for your fry, which can be hard on certain fry, this prevents that from happening with the fresh water flowing in, which I thought was kind of cool. So I eventually plan to set up a rack for breeding when I can find some time. And when I do, that'll be one of the first things I use. So, Lowell, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure meeting you. I think Lowell and I are going to become fast friends. I just have a feeling. The guy breeds fish, and that's what I like doing. So that was pretty cool. And then there was a big vendor room, and I met lots of cool folks there. One of the people I met there's an aquaculture program at Feather River College in Northern California. They had a booth there. And so I got to talk to them and find out what they're doing at their aquaculture program. And yeah, that was pretty interesting. I got to meet Sai, who does a whole bunch of wild bettas. Got to meet really awesome killifish breeder, actually a couple cool killifish booths. And yeah, I had a great time nerding out with them. Something else that the Findig has, which is kind of unique, is they have the normal auction that most events have, but the night before they had a rare auction, a rare fish auction, where you could get stuff that's a little harder to come by. And that was pretty cool to watch. There were killifish there were pupfish there, rare live bearers, and lots of other stuff that's just hard to get. So I thought the event was awesome. I want to thank everyone there who worked hard to put it together. I want to thank them for having me out. And yeah, just thanks. It was a good old time. If you missed it, if you're in Northern California and you missed it, they'll be doing it again next year. And in addition to this event, I'm sure this is public knowledge. They were talking about it openly, so I think I can say it. In addition to next year's Findig, they'll also have an aquascaping show at the same time. I forget the name of the aquascaping organization that'll be there representing, but it's going to be a double whammy. So you'll get the Findig plus an aquascaping event, which, I don't know. I'm not into aquascaping. I don't want to do them. I don't want to build them, but I like looking at them. I'll come by and take a look-see and judge harshly, right? That's fun. 258 folks here. That's not too bad. Hey, looks like we have 5 new members. Does that mean that someone, yes, Denise. Denise, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships out. We really appreciate that. That's an excellent way to support this channel. And if you just received a membership from Denise, congratulations. You are now part of the Fishmonger crew. You are an honorary Danio or Danionella, however you want to identify. Okay, let's go scrolling down here. Deborah Yoder. Hello, Deborah. Good to hear from you again. Any idea when CPDs or salt and pepper quarries will be unstick? A guy. I think you meant listed again. CPDs, I don't, did they sell out? I listed another group. Okay, let's go look here. Celestial. Did they already sell out? Holy cow, they did. Well, that was quick. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to bring more in. The whole group we had looks like it sold out. That must have been fast. That must have been very fast. And as far as the salt and pepper quarries, we're talking about Corydoras habrosus, the dwarf salt and pepper quarry. I don't know. The truth is, I've been having a hard time finding a supplier that will get them to us according to the parameters we require, if that makes sense. So the standards that we require. So we only work with suppliers who treat the fish humanely and who don't pack them too densely and who feed them well at their facilities so they're not all emaciated. You know, there's a standard of care that we require. And there's a couple suppliers I have that I've tried getting that fish from, and it hasn't always gone well. The standard of care hasn't always been met. So we're still working on them. We do have a group in-house right now, and I believe we are actually waiting for results from the Washington Animal Disease Diagnostic Laboratory to find out if they see anything wrong with them or not before we list them, because they came from a new supplier, and when we first got them in, they were struggling a bit, and we're trying to make sure they're completely healthy before we sell them. So, Deborah, we're actively working on it, but we have really high standards here. I mean, that's what makes this company what it is. And so when we're trying to find a new supplier or bring on a new species, those aren't new. We've had them off and on before, but we haven't found the place where we can consistently rely on getting them healthy and where they do well. So we're working on that. We have a group. It just kind of depends on what the lab results say. They might find some stuff we have to treat. They might, you know, I don't know what they're going to find or not find. So I hope so. That's one of my all-time favorite fish. I like any pygmy quarry for sure. But unfortunately, it's a process that can't be rushed. When we bring on a new supplier or a new fish or something, it often takes a long time before we get through all the steps and are finally able to sell them. We're just trying to be very careful about how we do that. And there's only so much time in a day. There's only so many new species or new suppliers or whatever you can handle at a given time. This is why my favorite place to buy aquarium fish, my favorite suppliers are you guys, aquarium hobbyists who breed fish, because you guys generally take good care of your fish, right? They're your babies. They're not a product, they're your babies. And so you take much better care of them on average than the industrial supply chain does. So we love buying from you. If you have aquarium fish that you've bred in quantity and would like to sell, send us an email, hello@dancefish.com. That's HELLO@dancefish.com. Let us know what you've got, how many, what size, and kind of the price you want, and we'll respond and go from there. Now, I was out of town for 5 days, so I do have a little backlog of folks who have reached out wondering if I'll buy their fish. I've seen your emails. I have not had time to engage with them. That's often a Thursday, Friday thing, because those are days we don't ship fish out. So I'm not ignoring you. I just have been out and have been too busy since I got back to engage with those yet. But I do like buying from hobbyists a lot. Dan Duffy. Hey, thanks for being a mod, Dan. I appreciate your service. I asked for a recommendation a few weeks ago about an algae outbreak. You suggested a Pleco. I got a yellow, blue-eyed, bushy-nosed Pleco, and I love her. My first Pleco. Algae is on the decline. Thanks. Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad it worked out. And yeah, the yellow, blue-eyed, or lemon blue-eyed, depending on what you want to call it, those are beautiful. Those are of all the bushy-nosed, they're one of the top prettiest ones. Glad it's working out. Happy to hear it. Nathaniel Hicks, what is your suggestion to help a clown loach heal from a bite mark above the tail from a bashir? Should I medicate the tank or set up a medical tank for him? Ooh, well, there's many variables to consider when figuring out how to care for a fish that's been injured. Yeah, just like if a person was injured, there's lots of things to consider. And I'm not a veterinarian, so, it's a little, you're getting unprofessional advice here. I'm just telling you some things to consider and what I might do if that was my fish. I'm not telling you what you should do. I want to make that clear. I think the best thing for a wound is cleanliness, like clean water. Make sure the environment's clear. Make sure that there's not a lot of decomp going on in that tank. There's not a lot of biological matter just rotting away in the aquarium, because if there is, you're going to have large populations of microbes doing the decomp on that, protozoans and all kinds of little nematodes and all kinds of bacteria and stuff. And those populations, when there's a bunch of food available for them, which is what the decaying biological matter is, will explode in population. And things that are normally benign in an aquarium, they exist as a natural part of the aquarium, but as a normal part of the aquarium, but they're in low numbers, so they don't cause harm. Well, if there's a lot of decaying waste in that aquarium, they'll explode in population, and they can cause harm, especially if there's a physical injury, right? If the skin has been damaged, and now that protective layer is susceptible, I suppose, to infection. So I'd keep the water nice and clean. I'd keep the tank nice and clean. So that's one thing I would do. Another thing that can help is salt, 5 to 8 grams per liter. That's 5 to 8 parts per thousand can help. Salt is a mild antiseptic. Salt can kill some protozoans, and salt helps with osmotic stress. So if there's a hole in the fish, then the osmotic stress at that point is going to be a lot higher than normal. And just having some salt there can help the fish not have to fight that osmotic pressure so much. And what osmotic pressure is all the fresh water surrounding the fish wants to invade the fish's tissues, because the fish is made up of salt water. And there's a lot less, salt in the water surrounding the fish. And so you get this osmotic pressure, you get this gradient that naturally wants to equalize itself. And the fish has to work fairly hard to keep that fresh water out of its system. And when its skin has holes in it, those are points where that osmotic stress is a lot higher, because now a normal defense against that osmotic stress has been damaged. So those are some things to think about. Now, should you set up a hospital tank? I don't know. It depends on what your other tank is set up like. Setting up a hospital tank is stressful on the fish. They're getting moved out of an environment that they probably know and are comfortable in, into a very strange environment. Hospital tanks are usually pretty sterile. There's not, they can be stressful. So if you do set up a hospital tank, I would make it very stress-free. I put in a lot of cover, a lot of places for the clown loach to hide and hang out and find comfort, kind of just rest without being, exposed. I would keep the light down so it doesn't have bright light. I would make sure there aren't, the bottom of the tank is on the outside is painted or has some substrate or something, just so that there isn't this bright light reflecting around. Things like that. Whatever you can do to make the hospital tank as stress-free as possible. And the only reason I can think of to use a hospital tank, provided that the normal tank is well maintained and the water's fairly clean and things like that, and the bashirs are no longer there being a menace, is if you're going to use certain antibiotics. If you're going to use antibiotics that kill gram-negative bacteria, then you probably want a hospital tank. Now, should you use antibiotics? I don't know. I don't know how bad the bite is. I don't know if there's signs of infection or not. I have no idea. So, also, if you have a nice planted aquarium, then, maybe you don't want to use all the medications and salt and stuff in that aquarium. Maybe in that case, you need a hospital tank. But if you don't need to, I wouldn't use a hospital tank, because I think that'll just add stress to the fish, and stress drains immune systems, and we want the immune system to function as high as it can. So those are some thoughts, Nathaniel. I can't tell you exactly what to do, but those are some thoughts about the situation. All right, chat jumped here, so let me scroll down to the next one. Hunter McLaren, hey Dan, a bit of different question. What's a natural place you've visited, ocean, river, valley, etc., that you remember fondly and often? Man, a ton of little creeks and streams and stuff where I get to collect fish or snorkel and see the fish. Like, there's this little creek around my house. It's like a little walk from my house, quarter mile maybe. And as a kid, I loved being in that thing. I would go down there and catch all kinds of little critters, swim around in there. I would fish in there. So that little creek just brings up fond memories of childhood. There was even just like a ditch or runoff ditch behind my house that didn't have water in it all year round, but the few months it did have water, I was in heaven. I'd go out there and collect little tadpoles and water skippers and water boatmen and little water beetles, all that stuff. I was just fascinated with water since I can remember. So even that little like runoff ditch in the back of my house, I have really fond memories of. So the most recent one though was I went on a collecting trip. There's two. I went on a collecting trip with Grant in Florida, and that was a really good time. And then I went on a collecting trip in Ohio with Lawrence Kent and Mark from Jonah's Aquarium and Jonathan from Owazi. And that was just good people and a good time catching all kinds of fish. And the reason why I think that one stands out for me is because Mark from Jonah's Aquarium is a true expert. He knows how to identify all the different mad tom catfish, for example, which who can do that? Nobody except Mark. He can look at a river and know, okay, this species will probably be over here, this species will be here, this will be here, and he's got all the equipment to collect it and stuff. So it was almost like I don't know, you pay to go on a luxury African safari or something, and the guys take you and they do all the work and you're just there having fun. It's kind of like that. Mark was the expert. He guided us very well. So that's another one that I really like. So I don't know. I've never had a bad time in water though. Croc, the animal guy. I made my first order a few days ago. A pair of, oh, the giant Rivulus Anablepsoides hartii, a spike-tailed pair of paradise fish in an L393 Pleco. Very excited for them to arrive. Well, Croc, the animal guy, thank you for the order. That's what allows me to do what I love every day. I'm the luckiest guy alive. I get to wake up every day and go mess with fish and fish stuff. It's pretty amazing. It's a rarefied life that I live, that's for sure. And thanks for the order. That's what allows me to live this life, and I'm excited for you to get them too. Those giant Rivulus are awesome. They're getting bigger every day. Whatever size I listed 2 weeks ago when I updated their listing, they're bigger now. I think they're around 2 inches, 2.5 inches now. Yeah, they're starting to look really good. Now they're going to get a lot bigger. They're going to get maybe up to 5 inches or so. So the color is going to come in even stronger, but that's a fish that I just think is amazing. Gills to Gardens, are the 2 puffers the last of the Amazons y'all have, or just 2 you've kept separate? I've been thinking of ordering another for my Amazon puffer. Thanks. No, those are not the last 2 that we have. They're just ones that we took out for scud control. So yeah, we still got, well, if we go to the website here, shall we? And type in puffer. We've still got 132 Amazon puffers available. So definitely not the last. Big Steve, hey Big Steve, I hope you're doing really well. It was awesome to meet you a couple weeks ago. Sent 1 Dan's Fish gift membership. Hey, thank you so much. And congrats to whoever received that membership. You're now part of the cool kids in the back of the bus. Emma-chan, hey Emma-chan, good to see you. I was delighted to meet you. Goal for next time I go speak in Sacramento is to actually spend some time and get to know Emma-chan a little better. But it was great. The flight back to Sacramento, was it great? No, it was a flight. Like, I don't know. It was an airport with a bus that, you know, that goes in the sky. An airport's a bus station. It's just the buses happen to not go on the ground. They just happen to go in the sky. Like, but it was really good to meet you. Emma-chan has all kinds of cool fish knowledge. She was working at the table with Cy, and is it William, the killifish guy from the Bay Area? I can't remember. But yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you. Now I know who you actually are. It's fun when you meet people in person that you've only ever seen online, right? It's cool to put a face with the username. KCM Aquatics, I just imported a breeding colony of L76. Any suggestions on what to feed them? Haven't seen them eat, but they may have eaten some tilapia. Okay, let's see here. So this is, what did you say? LO76? LO76 Pleco. The orange seam. Well, I have to say this is not one that I know. I've never kept this fish, or if I have, it was once long ago. I'm not real familiar with this one. So I'd be the wrong person to give you advice. But it's a Plecoltia. So my guess is it's going to want quite a few veggies in the diet, would be my guess. But again, I'm not a true Pleco expert, and this is not one I have any experience with. So if you've kept this fish, would you mind chiming in, leaving some information down in the chat for KCM Aquatics to help guide them? Because I don't want to steer you wrong, so I'm not comfortable giving you advice on that particular fish. Spinster sister, where did you source your Ginga rubra? I'm bringing in some from Indonesia next week to cross with yours. Oh, I hope they're awesome. Mine came from Europe, and I wish they had more. I haven't seen them available since. So I would love to get a big colony of those going. Those are absolutely stunning. For those who don't know what Ginga rubra is, these are Guppy or Endler. I'm not sure which it is, to tell you the truth. It's probably both. Look at these things. Like, look at this. Absolutely stunning. It's really, really bright colors that just pop on these things. So Yeah, beautiful fish. $363, man, we're going up. We're going up, up, up. Thank you guys for being here and watching the stream tonight. If you know someone that might enjoy this and you haven't done so, if you wouldn't mind sharing it out to them. And yeah, let's get some more people in here. Grace Doyle, so funny. I just trimmed my Amazon puffer's teeth today. Followed your video and it was pretty easy. One even bit me. That's how you know they're lively. Everyone bounced back fine. Grace, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, so for those that don't know, we have a video on our YouTube channel here about how to trim puffer's teeth. We show you how we do it, and so hopefully that helps some people, because it's pretty nerve-wracking your first, or for the first couple times, but once you've done it a couple times, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I see how to do this. Green Shield, what do you think about Jack Dempsey's and angelfish? I'm sure this is a stupid question, but some I'm curious about the pairing being in the same tank. I like Jack Dempsey's and I like angelfish. I don't know that I would ever try them together. I think that eventually the Dempseys would go aggro and kill the angelfish once they got in a spawning mood or a territorial mood. They don't always have to be in pairs to do that. They can just want to claim a territory. So that is my impression. I've never tried that combo, but I have seen Jack Dempsey's kill things for sure. So angels, I think, would be a victim of that. And don't worry about asking quote unquote stupid questions. You know how many people don't ask questions because they don't have the courage to? Like, they're like, people might think it's dumb. No, ask the questions, learn the stuff. Like, how else are you going to progress in life? That's awesome. Lowell made that fry box for Dean. It's in one of Corey's videos. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, it makes, I mean, in Lowell's presentation, he showed us it in use, and it made total sense on how the flow is kept contained. For those who've come later, so I got this neat fry box, and one thing I really like about it is this: the water comes through here and has to go down here and over here and then out. And so that means you don't get a bunch of churn at the surface of the water from your water circulating, which helps with certain fry that don't have the power to deal with moving water. Dan Brown, Daniel Lee, great to meet you. Hey, you too, Daniel Lee Brown. It was awesome to meet you. Thanks for having me. And yeah, the brother I never knew I had, Dan Brown. Met him this last weekend. We had the same first name and the same last name, so it's pretty fun. Seville Steve, have you had any experience breeding a Rasbora? How do you say the first name? Somfang, I think. Somfong, maybe Somfong Rasboras. Let's see what that is. Because no, I don't think so. I don't recognize that name, but it could be. Oh no, I haven't. I'm not even sure that I've kept this before. So this is the same genus as like a Harlequin Rasbora, just a different version of that. You can kind of see, this dark bar here. You can kind of see the resemblance. Is that a picture of them spawning? It looks like it might be. Cool little fish. Not only have I not bred it, I don't think I've ever kept it. I don't think I've ever had that in an aquarium or not even in a store. So I know nothing about it, Jon Snow. Spinster Sister, from what part of the world did that eel originate from? South America? No, I believe it came from an Asian import. Now, I believe it's an Asian eel, but I don't know. I really don't know. That's the honest truth. Like, even if it did come from Asia, it doesn't mean that the species didn't originate in South America, because Asia brings in all kinds of stuff from South America. So I have no clue where that fish would be in nature, but if I had to guess, I think it would be in Asia somewhere. Kayla's Reptiles and Aquatics. Well, hello, Bob. How are you doing this fine evening? I hope that all is well in Tennessee. I hope you're like sitting out on your porch, watching a beautiful, like, I wouldn't be sunset yet, but watching a beautiful evening, and there's birds around chirping, and there's a squirrel running around in the tree, and it's just great. That's what I hope for you tonight. Jacob, Would Cuban Limias and Montezuma swordtails be good tank mates? I think they would get along fine. The thing about them, though, is they occupy the same niche in a lot of ways in the tank. They go for the same food. They do the same things. So it'd be a little redundant for me personally as a fish keeper to have them both in the same tank. But if you're just like, I need space, this is where they can go, then I don't see any reason not to put them together. Christopher, in the past, I believe it was Morton brand salt you used for your tanks. Can you refresh the memory on the type you're using these days? Aquarium salt is so expensive. If it was Morton brand salt, it's because that's what I had up in my kitchen at the time. I'm not loyal to any salt brand. What we generally use is just the ice melt salt from Home Depot in the 40-pound bag. You get 40 pounds for, I don't know what it is now, $6, $8, something like that. I remember when it was like $3. And just make sure it's sodium chloride and not one of the potassium-based salts. But yeah, that's what I use, whatever is at the hardware store. And if I don't recognize the salt, if I don't know that it's just sodium chloride, I'm one of those weird guys that calls the number on the bag, calls the company and asks them, because I don't want to have a problem with a potassium or magnesium-based salt. Yeah, don't pay for aquarium salt. Just get the cheap stuff at the hardware store, especially if you're using a lot of it. Scotty the Fish Freak. I think it's the AGA happening in Sacramento next year. That sounds right. That sounds right. Barbara Jackson. Hey, Barbara. It was wonderful to meet you. I hope you had as good a time as I did this weekend. Dan's Fish, do you know any info on polka dot good day aids? No. I got some in the auction. Any special care? I don't know. I don't even know what a polka dot good day it is. Let's look it up. Maybe I know the scientific name and not the common name. Let's see. Well, here's what I get when I Google polka dot good day it. Okay, fish. Polka dot split fin. Okay, Chapelithes. No, this is one I've never kept. I don't know anything about it. This is a Mecha Splendens, right? Or does it just look similar? If this is the fish you're talking about, yeah, it looks very similar to Mecha Splendens, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I have zero experience with that fish. I don't know how to help you. Anyone here kept that fish? Mitchell Broom, are you around? Is that one you've kept? If so, let's chime in and help Barbara Jackson out. Nature Nerd, at Findig, I scored some blue spotted sunfish at the mega auction. Will the Everglades pygmy sunfish go well with them? I don't think so. I think the blue spotted gets so much bigger that the Everglades pygmy sunfish would become snacks, or if not snacks, would probably get beat up. Now, that being said, I've never tried that combo, so I don't know for sure. But the blue spotted do get significantly better than the Everglade eye. And Nature Nerd, I'm glad you were there. Did we meet? If so, it was great to meet you. If not, next time. But blue spotted sunfish are beautiful. That is an awesome fish for sure. Ten House. Would Synodontis catfish be decent take mates for discus? I can't find much information about cohabitating these guys together, and I want your take on it. I don't think I would do that. Maybe it's awesome, but here's the reason I'm thinking I wouldn't. It's because Synodontis are awful zippy. Like, they're energetic, zippy fish, especially at night. And that's when the discus are going to go want to chill and sleep. And discus are so big that I think those Synodontis are going to zip around and keep nudging them at nighttime and bother them. And it might really stress out the discus. I don't know if it would or not, but that's my sense, just knowing how zippy they are. They're like at nighttime, they're super active. You have spines too, so if they swim at the wrong angle, I could see them, getting a spine in a discus. So It might be the best combo in the world, but I've never tried it. But knowing those two fish and how they both behave, I think I would pass personally. Nathaniel Hicks has joined up, so is Kim and Carl. Hey, Kim and Carl, welcome to the Fishmonger crew. And not only did Nathaniel join up, they also gifted a membership to someone else. Hey, thanks, Nathaniel. That's awesome. That's hugely supportive, and I appreciate it. Brett Baker, I don't suppose you have a method of auto-magically having the exact fish I want in stock at the exact moment that I have the funds, right? Right. I mean, for a fee, we could provide that service. We could have a dedicated person to be the Brett Baker concierge of fish here. And all they would do all day long is source the fish Brett wants. I mean, it's nothing I've ever planned on doing, but for the right amount, I could hire that person. Yeah, Brett, I love your comment. That's hilarious. I know. That's the thing. It's like, oh, I'm not ready for the fish. It won't be available. The moment I'm ready, for sure it's going to be available, right? Yeah. And then the odds that, like, a lot of people want lots of different fish, the odds that they're all available at the same time are, you know, not great. So people sometimes miss out because they're like, well, 2 of the 3 are here. I'm just going to wait till the 3rd one's here before I place my order. But by the time the 3rd one's here, those other 2 have sold out. And so you can never win. Andrew Williams, I think I got your cold. Oh, I hope you didn't. It was a beast, man. It took me a few weeks to get over that thing. Feel a lot better now, though. In fact, for the fin dig, I felt, I don't know, 95%. For the Lancaster, for the meeting in Lancaster in Pennsylvania, I was 70%. Like, that was miserable. The people were awesome, and they took wonderful care of me, and they were great, and I would love to go again. But when you're sick, you're sick. Sometimes it's just miserable. So, Andrew, I hope you heal quickly, and I hope you don't have what I had. Yep. I'm learning that I have to get enough sleep. If I don't get enough sleep for long enough, I just start getting sick. There's so much to do. How do you sleep? Charles Adokita, are there any new libraries being listed this week? The coolest library is the full green guppies. Is these. And pardon the picture, it's not great, but this is probably the best line of libraries that we have right now, because they came from an IFGA line, and they were bred and raised. We sourced them from a hobbyist who bred out of that line. So that's probably the showiest, best line of domestic libraries that we currently have. That's my guess. Connor Kaminski. Did I do that right? Kaminski? Maybe. Hope I didn't butcher your name, Connor. What do you have those pygmy sunfish eating? I have 2 different species coming Monday, and I want to be ready. Oh, they'll eat lots of frozen foods. They'll eat small frozen bloodworms. They'll eat frozen brine shrimp. They'll eat live baby brine shrimp. They'll eat scuds. If they're not big enough to eat the adult scuds, they'll eat the babies. They'll eat Daphnia. But their primary diet here is frozen brine shrimp and frozen bloodworms, kind of a rotation of that, with live baby brine shrimp. That's their primary diet here. And unless it's sick, I've never met a pygmy sunfish that wouldn't eat frozen foods fine, or live baby brine shrimp. If they're hesitant eating, then live baby brine shrimp for sure. Next, frozen bloodworms, and then 3rd would be the frozen brine shrimp. That's kind of their order of preference. Brandon Lightcap, top 3 plecos and go. Oh, I'm gonna give a variety here. I like the L183s. Let's show you. So I feel like I have to start with an ancistrus type, and I like these a lot. I also just because they're an ancistrus, right? They're as easy as bushy nose plecos, but they have this really neat color pattern to them. And pardon the pictures. These pictures are of fish that are like 1.25 inches, and it was hard to get good shots of them. I also like, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I like the 519 a lot too. I really like the kind of orange color and that honeycomb pattern that they've got. So I like this, the 519 a lot, and the L183. I think I might not have been sharing the screen. The Starlight Bushy Nose, I like these guys a lot. So one ancistrus type. Then a I like the Queen Arabesque. I don't know if I have a picture. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. The L260, the Queen Arabesque. I love this fish. It looks so awesome at all stages of life. And it's these are little babies here. And they just get better and better as they age. So Queen Arabesque is probably the hype ancistrus I would go for. Although I really like the little L174s and the is it 474s? 174s and 474. The mini snowball and the ocelot, I really like those a lot too. But yeah, I'm gonna go with this. And then for another type, some kind of Panoc type, clown type, maybe the candy cane pleco, or something like that, or the blood pleco. One of those like 397 types, but one that keeps its color into adulthood. Any of those. So then you get some variety, right? You get an ancistrus, you get a hype ancistrus, and you get a Panocoleus. I forget how to say the genus. 3 different kinds, and each of them are cool. Are you planning on attending the Lone Star Cares convention in June? No, Pyle. I'll be speaking at the Heartland Aquarium Society. I think I'll be in Kentucky, I believe it is. Is it Missouri? No, I think it's Missouri. I think it's Kentucky, I mean, in June, speaking there. So I won't be at the CARES convention. And then I'm going to take a break through the summer because I got to get my daughter to college and, want to spend some quality time with her. And, yeah, then I'll start up again maybe in the fall. Go into stuff. Grow more veggies. I noticed that you had croaking gouramis for a minute. I wasn't ready for them around this time and can't wait for them to come again. How fast did they sell this time around? They sold super fast because we only had one. I was literally cleaning out an aquarium and found a croaking gourami that I had no idea was in there. So it's like, oh, there's a croaking gourami. So I had one, and so I listed one. So as you can imagine, one fish sells really fast. In fact, I feel kind of bad when I list just one fish because everyone who's, if you put on your wish list you want that fish, you're going to get a notification. But there's only one. And so the odds that you're actually going to get it before it's gone are low, right? So that's a baby that grew up here. We sold all the parents out of that take a long time ago. And I had no idea there was a little baby in there that grew up. But there it is. JJ Aquatic, a friend of mine has a 7-inch Synodontis granulosus. He's looking to sell. Any advice on the best way to do this? Well, I think I would look up aquarium clubs around you. See if there's a club that meets close by. And then it's a 7-incher. I probably wouldn't pack it up and take it to the club auction. I would probably talk to people there to see if anyone's interested in it. Just because a 7-inch Synodontis is pokey, and if you're inexperienced bagging fish and stuff, I think it would be hard to bag it up and take it to the auction. Hopefully you could find someone there that's super into Synodontis that could literally come to your house and pick it up for you. I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. I don't know if that works, but that's probably the easiest way. I'm just trying to think of handling a 7-inch Synodontis with plastic bags, especially if you're inexperienced with bagging and shipping fish, and I think that'd be a nightmare. We have any L519 soon? I know I always ask, but I really want a few. Javier Taino, I sure hope so. I don't know though. Okay, so there's a place I can get them, but if I bought them from this place, there's two places I can get them. One has them listed. I've never tried them from this source, but they have them listed all the time. Excuse me. Oh, wow. But they're super expensive, like price prohibitive. So I don't think that'll work. And then I have another supplier, a breeder that I can buy them from directly, who has them available, but only occasionally. But when they do, the price is very reasonable compared to the other person. So I wait for them, and they just don't have them available all that often. I'm not able to get them in all that often. But anytime they have them and I'm ordering, I do order them. Doesn't mean they always show up. Doesn't mean I always have them, but I try. That's one. I would love to have the 519s in always. I don't ever want to be without that fish. It's just the supply of them is very limited and hard to come by. So I hope so. I don't know when, but I try all the time to keep that fish in. It's one of my favorites. Oink Master Supreme Forever, aka Oinky. Have you ever bred either nerites or bamboo shrimp? I know both require brackish to reproduce, and I'm trying to acquire as much info as I can before attempting this venture. I never have. I always saw saltwater for babies and ran away. So I've never attempted that. But man, it'd be a fun adventure to figure it out. Like if your thing is tinkering, trying a bunch of different experiments and setups and all that to figure out, to crack that code, then that sounds like a really fun project, kind of like a mono shrimp and some of the others. Donald Hall, the neon green hyphen swordtail fry are growing up well. They are now about 1.5 weeks old. I was 11 to 2 weeks old. That makes no sense. That's 11. That's 1.5. Well, I'm glad they're doing well for you and growing up. I'm glad to hear that, Donald. Hopefully that they turn into nice, big, beautiful swordtails for you. How would you recommend breeding golden wonder killifish? Well, William, I have good news. They're about the easiest fish to breed and raise. The eggs are tough as nails. They don't fungus. And they're big enough when they hatch to eat baby brine shrimp right away. You could probably, honestly, even raise them on like crushed flake food if you were in a pinch. But you take a spawning mop, you attach a cork to it so it floats, and you put that in the tank with them, and usually they'll lay eggs in it, especially if there aren't plants and other places to lay the eggs. Then you take that mop and put it in another tank, or pick the eggs out of it and put them in a container of water to incubate. And I would say with those, roughly 2 weeks, maybe a little less, maybe a little longer, depending on temperature and such, you'll have babies. So they're actually quite easy to breed, to get eggs from. Now, the easiest way to do it is have a tank with a bunch of floating plants in it. Not duckweed, that doesn't have enough root system to have good spawning surfaces and fry cover, but like water sprite or frog bit or water lettuce, something like that. Good deep root systems that the fish can spawn in. Put the babies in there put the adults in there for a couple weeks, and then remove them and just let the babies hatch in there and squirt in baby brine shrimp a couple times a day. That's an easy way to do it. But they're one of the easiest fish to breed and raise, just because the eggs are so tough. One of the problems we have with killifish is having the eggs fungus, right? Either because they're infertile, or the shell didn't harden correctly, or there's I don't know what all the reasons are, but that's one of the banes of a killifish breeder's existence is the egg's fungused. Like many a person has tried to breed blue gularis to run into fungused eggs, but this one, man, those eggs will survive almost anything. So good choice for a first killie to breed. Spinster says, I think the eel is a tire track eel. Could be, I have no idea. It does have that pattern on it though. Flatbed Aquatics, keeping aquariums in the back of my truck. Have you heard of anyone, or your thoughts on tubbing a breeding pair of angels for the summer in a 100-gallon tub? I haven't heard of that, but a tub is just an aquarium you keep outside. So provided you can keep aquariums, you can keep an aquarium outside in the form of a tub. So I don't see any reason why it would be a problem to try that. I don't think it'd be bad for the angelfish if you keep it like an aquarium. So personally, I'd go for it, especially if I had like a bright white or gold colored angelfish that that I could see better from the top. That's the problem with tubbing. If you don't put the right colored fish in there, you put them in and you never see them again. You have no clue what's going on until the fall when you harvest the pond or bring them indoors or whatever. Like, so I like bright colored fish in a tub, so I can see them, so I know what's happening. So yeah, I don't see any reason not to try it. Shlina, can you get some gold dojo loaches? Shlina, it's probably you that's been asking. People have been asking for those. I actually did look, and I did not see any this time around. So not this time around. I also need to check and make sure that they're actually legal in my state. They're illegal in some states. I think they're legal in my state, but I'll have to check. L519's on the way soon. I just keep missing them, says Ann. Yeah, I keep missing them too. I keep trying to bring them in. It's one I want. If anyone out there is breeding L519s in large numbers, I would like to buy a few hundred from you. Or 50, if you've got 50. Like, that's a fish that I really want. Aquadrazi. My sister and I got platinum tetras from the same batch. Hers are chill and mine have started chasing and nipping at each other. Could they be getting ready to spawn? They could be spawning behavior. So it always blows my mind how different fish act in different setups. Even here at the warehouse, I've got tanks that are on the same water source, are all set up pretty similarly. And I can have two tanks next to each other with the same species in each tank. And in this tank, they'll act very differently than in this tank. I can't see what the difference is. Maybe it's something with how the water flows or how the sunlight hits it, or I don't know what all the variables might be, but it always blows my mind how fish act differently in different tanks. Same species, even from the same batch. So yes, they could be getting ready to spawn. One other thing is tetras. I don't know how big your groups are, but if she has more than you, if her group is bigger, then that would explain the difference. A lot of tetras can be nippy in small numbers, but do much better in large numbers because in nature they're found in much large numbers. That's what they know how to do that properly. They know how to be in larger numbers properly. So does she have a lot more than you? If so, that might be the difference. Patrick Berggren. I've collected and bred a variety of native fish. Am I allowed to sell the offspring? I don't know the laws in your state. And I don't know if the fish you're breeding are from your state. So, Patrick, you'd need to check your local laws. I don't know. But if you are, let me know what you got. I might be interested in buying them from you. I love buying fish from aquarium hobbyists, for sure. Andrew Williams. I can't make any common orange, so will this work? Yeah, you can. Look. Bright orange, right there. It worked. Oh man, chat just jumped. I was seeing another comment from Oink Master. All right. Where are you, Oink Master? Wondering if we'll be attending Aquashella. I won't. I don't have any plans to attend Aquashella. One day, but this year is not something I plan to do. If they invited me to speak, I might think about it, but honestly, this year's pretty booked up. Bracken Fish Fanatic. Exactly what happened to me when I found a supply for Neolamprologus mustax. Yeah. Well, I hope you get some, and I hope they do awesome for you. But bringing on a new supplier or even a new fish from a supplier is always a risk. Heck, this whole business is risk. This whole business is figuring out how to mitigate risk. Scotty the Fish Freak, is that the magical and good smelling tea in that tumbler? Oh yeah, so when I was in Pennsylvania, there was this beautiful, like, what was it? Throat coat tea. And then there was another one, like a lemon ginger tea that I had in this thing because it would soothe my throat. No, this is just water. Or is it? No, it is just water. Don't need the tea right now. My throat's feeling a ton better. Green Shield, what would you say is a nice tank size for a solo Jack Dempsey? I've recently fallen in love with them and want to get one. I mean, I would want, minimum size is up to you, but what I think would be awesome for a Jack Dempsey is a tank that's big enough, it has some room to roam and explore different things, right? That it has to swim around to observe certain parts of its habitat. They can't just sit in one corner and be master of all it, of its entire habitat. So what would that be? I mean, this is overkill probably, but I think a Jack Dempsey in a 125 would be awesome. I think you could do all kinds of hardscapes and nooks and crannies and caves and have every third or in the middle or something, have a big hardscape piece jut out. So they kind of have to swim over and through to see what's going on over here. Now, you could probably keep a Jack Dempsey long-term in a 40 breeder if you kept up with the water quality and you set it up a certain way and maintained it a certain way. But for like enrichment and things, I don't know, I think a 125. Give that thing an awesome home and it will reward you. So that's what I say is a nice size tank. Spencer Sister, by chance is the full green guppy from Tim Mousseau? I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Someone else handled that purchase, so I don't really know. But I thought we purchased them from a lady. Tim, if we did get them from you, I'm sorry. I really don't know. I wasn't close to that transaction. That little girl that used to help in the basement. College? Yeah, I know. My daughter's going to college. Yep. She sure is. Yeah. If it blows your mind, trust me, it's blowing mine as well. Lenny Torres, I really want to order Stiffodon and a Gobia, but I want a male. Are the females just as colorful? No, the females aren't as colorful, but if you specify you want a male, we got a lot of them that are colored up at this point. And I think we could get you a male without too much trouble. Just leave a note at checkout that says, I want a male. They've colored up enough now that I think we can do that for you. What I can't do is get females for you because I don't know if the females are just males that aren't colored up yet. But the ones that are colored up, those are males. That I can tell. Rosie, I have multiple community tanks. And by the way, the Stiffodons, especially the Aniae, they tend to sell male heavy. I think we have a lot more males than females is my guess. Although they're still coloring up, so I could be wrong. Rosie, I have multiple community tanks. When I get my spotted Congo puffer, hint, hint, should I put it with my community tank or with or without my pea puffers? Ooh, I don't know. I've never kept a spotted Congo puffer with any other species. I've kept big groups of spotted Congo puffers together, and they do wonderfully. But I've never kept them with any other species of puffer. I have no clue. I have no clue if that would just be a bloodbath. I don't know if, it would be a risk for sure, but I don't know. Has anyone done that? Have you kept a spotted Congo puffer with pea puffers? If so, would you let us know the results so that we can help them make a decision? Navajo Naturals. Do you have any tips or tricks on bumblebee catfish? Yeah, the main thing, are we talking about the South American bumblebee or the Asian bumblebees? There's many species on each continent, but generally, lots of places to hide. Now, that is a fish you're probably only going to see at feeding time. They'll be out occasionally, but mostly during the day, they're going to sleep, right? They're nocturnal. But they'll learn about feeding time, and that's when it's fun. One thing I love is when I have bumblebee catfish here, we'll have a big group in an aquarium, and there'll be some cover for them. And so you won't see any fish in the tank. And then you put in food, and like the horde just emerges from the cover and comes out very energetically to eat. It's really fun. Same experience as feeding like ninja woodcats and stuff like that. It's like, there's no fish in there. Oh, really? Drop in some food. Boom. 50 of them just come out and start eating. Aquatic moose. Well, hey, how are you doing? Hope you're doing really well. Hope Colorado is treating you excellently. Will you sing for us? No, Aquatic moose, I won't sing for us, but I'll sing for you. What's a song I know? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. It's probably not your birthday, but there's your song, Aquatic moose. NC Pleco cavers. Do you know anyone that has recorded breeding the Bloody Mary hill stream? Is it even possible to breed gastromyzon? I don't know that I've seen a breeding report on Bloody Marys. I mean, I'm sure it's possible. Wow, that's a loud motorcycle right outside. Anyone here, have you bred Bloody Marys or any other gastromyzon? NC Pleco clavers? NC Pleco cavers. Geez, talking's hard. So the back of my mind is tickling me about someone saying that they had bred or knew someone that had bred Bloody Marys, but I don't have any direct knowledge of that. Andrew Williams wants a song. Well, the one I sang earlier will have to do, Andrew. Do you have any tips for breeding sparkling gouramis? Yeah. Okay, they don't need a lot of room. Slowly bubbling sponge filter. Well, I'd probably use RO or some softer water for them. And a few caves in there. I'd put some caves at the bottom of the tank. I'd put some caves floating at the top of the tank. Little caves they can spawn in. And I mean, they've spawned here in little caves and stuff. We haven't bothered to raise them, and you're usually spawning in a tank that has hundreds of them in there. So, you know, they didn't raise them up, but that's what I would do. Once they've spawned, I'd remove the female, and then once the fry are free swimming, I'd remove the male, and basically I'd breed them like bettas, like betta splendens. Kind of like that without the aggression. Except for I'd use a cave. Several caves, actually, and let them choose one. Food, I imagine those are tiny, tiny little things. I think the best way to feed and raise them would be to use like rotifers or infusoria or something like that. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get ready for the giveaway here. So the giveaway, in case you're taughty, in case you were not here at the beginning of the stream, is for 2 Amazon puffers that have been together for many months here at Dan's Fish, been used as scud control. So they've been moving from tank to tank to eat scuds when we get a scud bloom. So they're fat and sassy and have been together doing well for a long time. The other fish that we have as part of the giveaway is this. This is in the tank with them. It's an eel. I don't know what kind of eel, so I'm letting you be the judge of that. It came in as a tiny little contaminant. It's now grown to, what is that thing? 4 inches, give or take a bit. I took this picture just right before the stream with my camera, so it's a little blurry, but you can see the pattern and stuff enough to maybe identify it. I don't know if it's one that grows into an absolute monster or if it's one that stays small. I have no clue. just an eel that showed up. And it's cool. It's an awesome, healthy eel that's grown up here. But I don't know anything about it. So don't even know what it is. So I'm going to build the giveaway here real quick. And the keyword, yes. Who can win? Anyone. Anyone can win. Okay, the keyword will be... Okay. So if you would like to be entered to win 2 Amazon puffers and an eel, oops, there we go, then hashtag puffer eel, hashtag PUFFEREEL, all one word, no spaces, caps don't matter. And if you enter that, you'll be entered to win those 2 Amazon puffers and that mystery eel. Hashtag puffer eel, hashtag PUFFEREEL, no spaces, capitalization does not matter. It's not case sensitive. We'll let that marinate for a bit, and then we'll get to another question or comment while we're waiting. If I win the giveaway and cannot take the eel, do I just not enter, or could we trade for something else? Yeah, just don't enter if you can't take everything in the giveaway. Lenny Torres, do you prioritize males when shipping? When someone just buys one fish, really want a male, stiff it on any NEA. Yeah, Lenny, again, just leave that. If you order that fish, leave that in the note when you check out. We can get you a male, I'm pretty darn sure. I looked at them just yesterday, and they were colored up pretty nicely. Blake Bryant, for a first-time fry grow out, what kind of parameters are most important to monitor? Doing remineralized RODI in a 20-gallon with a breeder box, keeping 76 degrees for Pseudomugil luminatus. Once they're hatched, I don't know that the parameters are super important. Luminatus can do fine in soft acidic water. They can do fine in hard alkaline water. The point where I think water parameters could be an issue when it comes to pH and hardness and such is when they're breeding, like the eggs itself developing, being properly fertilized, and hatching. Once they're hatched and free swimming, I think you can not worry about it as much. I think you can cut to whatever water you want to raise them on. Now, what I think is most important, here's the conundrum, is how do you keep food in front of them so they got plenty to eat because they're tiny and they have huge metabolisms without fouling the water? So clean water and plenty of food. That is the key to success with baby fish, with raising them up. So having the proper food that they can eat and enough to stay nice and fat and grow quickly, and even while feeding all that food, have the water be clean. That's that balance, because you feed a ton, the water's likely to get dirty, right? So you have to find a way to manage the water quality. When a lot of these fish are breeding, it's the beginning of the rainy season. And when the rainy season hits, all this new habitat is opened, because in the tropical areas where a lot of these fish come from, there's a rainy season and a dry season. And in the dry season, the water kind of dries up a lot, right? There's not much habitat available. But then it rains and the water just goes out and floods these vast areas. And when it does that, it covers previously dry territory. And that creates this bloom, this absolute soup, this bloom of microorganisms that eat the vegetable matter, the leaves, the everything that the water is flooding into. And so baby fish from tropical areas that have a wet and dry season, when they're first hatched and first growing, in the wild, they often have unlimited food on demand. So now there's competition, and there's, they have to, sometimes that's not the case. There are variables, but in general, that's why they spawn at the beginning of the wet season. It's because there's going to be this massive bloom of food for the babies. So you want to keep the food in front of them. And also, the thing nature does is very good about keeping the water clean, right? There's a massive volume of water, and also there's all kinds of ways that it maintains the purity of the water, the cleanliness of the water. In the aquarium, we have to balance that. So that's my thoughts on that. But yeah, I honestly, whatever water you want them to eventually be in for raising, if it's hard alkaline water, if that's what you want, I would over the next week or so gradually cut that in until that's what they're in within a week or so. Johnny D Cards, I have just today found an Endler fry that is a belly slider, much smaller than the other fry. They were born a couple weeks ago. What would be your suggestion on this situation? Are you asking what caused it? I don't know. I imagine the fish didn't form quite right in its mother. Are you asking what I would do with it? Well, honestly, what I would do with that is probably feed it to another fish. I don't know if that's going to trigger people or not, but that's a fish that is probably not going to have a good life long term, and it's perfectly natural for fish to eat other fish. It's a good food source, and I wouldn't want to waste it. So that's what I would do. I don't know if I should say that live online in a chat because I might get all kinds of hate for it, but if that fish is probably not going to have a good quality of life, probably not going to live very long, probably struggle to have enough food, probably get outcompeted by all the other fish in the aquarium, and probably get picked on mercilessly, and have a short and probably not pleasant life, then I think I would feed that to another fish. Okay. Let's see here. It's 8:23, so we have probably got some folks in the giveaway. We do. Some folks have entered the giveaway, and the winner out of 156 entries is Lewis Cipher 12. Lewis Cipher 12, you have won. Congratulations. You now have 2 minutes to chime in. Leave a comment in the chat letting us know that you're here. You can say anything. You can say, yay. You can say, oh my. You can say, what do I say? You know, we don't care what you say, but say something in the chat in the next 2 minutes to claim your winnings. If you don't do that, you forfeit your winnings, and we will draw somebody else. Them's the rules. D-Rock 4130. Aquashella Law lands on my 40th birthday. Hey, congrats. So my wife is having me get a hotel for me and my son, even though it's only a 20-minute drive. Wants me to go both days. I'm so lucky. Yeah, you married well, my friend. You married well. That sounds like a ton of fun, like a staycation kind of, right? Yeah. Toonie Loon, if you were to put together a 75-gallon community tank, what would you put in it? Okay. What I should say is a bunch of fish I haven't stocked, so I have a chance to sell them to you, but I'm not going to do that. There's a fish that I love in a big group in that exact size tank, and it's the threadfin rainbow fish. Erythrina werneri. I'm having, it's like the dwarf salt and pepper cories, the Corydoras habrosus. I'm having a heck of a time finding a good place to source those from. So I don't have any for sale right now, but a big group of those in a 75-gallon tank, displaying and doing that hummingbird flutter they do with their fins, the threadfin rainbow fish. Okay, I got to show. I imagine people in this chat know what this fish looks like, but if you don't, they look like this. And this is two males sparring. They absolutely do this. They spread their fins, they dance around, and what you're not seeing, because this is a picture, not a video, is they flicker these fins really rapidly. They'll hold them erect, go around, and then flicker, 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 and it's just one of the most stunning sights nature ever devised, is this fish displaying. So I would get a big group of those. Then I would get a whole bunch of pygmy type cories, either pygmaeus or habrosus or histatus, some kind of cory that doesn't get real big. And I'd put a big group of those on the bottom. And then on the top, I would do either like a platinum half beak or a pygmy hatchetfish, one of those, or maybe a marble hatchetfish, a hatchetfish that doesn't get too big, or a half-beak that doesn't get too big. And I think just those three in large numbers would make a really interesting tank. I wouldn't clog it with like, I'm going to get 30 different species there and get ones and twosies of each one. I want to see groups of these fish interacting together. I might throw in, so that's the main bulk of the tank. I might throw in a few like Stiffodon gobies or something like that, just to have a different cadence. Not big groups, just a few to have around. I might throw in some shrimp and maybe some kind of ancestress for algae control, or autosynclus, something like that. So that's what I think that I would do. If like today I had to set up that tank and I had all those species, that's probably what I would do. Okay, let's see if yes indeed. Lewis Cypher 12 in 49 seconds left a comment. So Lewis Cypher 12, you are the winner of 2 Amazon puffers and an eel of unknown origin. An eel of unknown origin. So what I need you to do now, Lewis, is send us an email to hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. I need your first name, your last name, and your mailing address, so I know where to ship these, who I'm shipping them to. Once we get that, we'll arrange a date and get those off to you. So thanks for playing. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who participated in this chat tonight. Thank you to the moderators for volunteering their time, making sure that the chat runs smoothly. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It's a thankless job oftentimes, and so I just want to take a minute to thank you, because things would run a lot less smoothly if you guys weren't here doing that. Everyone that's a member of the channel, thanks for being a member. And if you gifted memberships today, thanks for doing that. That's hugely helpful. If you gave money to us, thanks for throwing the cash. Thanks for the super chats. Always appreciated, never required, but every little bit does help. We do appreciate it very much. If you were active in the chat, thanks for participating. If you were not active in the chat, we still love you. Hail the Lurker Nation. If you're watching the replay, hello from the past. And if you are listening to the podcast, then that means that by some miracle I actually got this loaded into the podcast. Thank you for listening. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I really hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye, everybody.